the LuvBug turned out, the idea, it was just one of those weird ideas that we were throwing ideas around for what we're going to do with this vehicle. And it came out, and I think I could see it could work.
And we came up with a bit of a funny idea about what if we have this LuvBug that could be doing some sexual health education, and we we're going to have it on hydraulics so it'd hump, and just really attract the kids, just be something really engaging and different, unique, that kids would relate to and go, hey, we can talk to these people, they're not sort of stuck up and, approaching us with those questions that are hard to ask. It was a bit of a laugh at the time. We thought, but you know what, that would kind of work as we started to explore. At the same time, Denny, in the times we remember that he was best, he was driving around a red Volkswagen Beetle, so it was like a bug, and it had a soft top. He'd put the roof down, he'd drive to the beaches, have a bit of a surf, and just connecting with nature, having that relaxing, soothing activity that he enjoyed, helped really keep him grounded and helped overcome some of those mental health difficulties day to day for him. So it was kind of quite striking for us that we had this possibility to produce a bug in Denny's memory as our mascot.
Our second stage for Bug is we wanted to have a trailer or a vehicle or something that's all set up, and Lauren can actually get into that, sit in that with the young person, and it'll all be set up so that she'll be able to draw the bloods, and the system will be able to go straight away from that. That's obviously another step for us, which is going to be a bit more expensive, and if we could get some support, that'd be great. But so it can be done there, because look, you can talk to these kids till you're blue in the face, and you can say, yes, how about going to this place and getting tested, and they'll say yes. And you ask them next week, did you go? No, I didn't feel like going. So the idea is to deal with it when you're talking to them while you're there, because then they don't go back up. They're there, they're ready to deal with it, and there's no peer pressure going on that, in that sense, to stop it from happening. But to get that 3-hour test, I think that would just be magic, because they're captured, they're there, they come, they go. You can take that, and then they know they'd come back. If they don't come back that week, they can come back the next week. And if it's something that's not right, Lauren would back up the next week to make sure that she could talk to them and try and help them through that. And that part is what is really needed for us out on the streets. And it's meeting them where they're at with something that's fun, something that's non-threatening, non-judgmental. So that's what we're aiming for with that program.
And when we look around at a lot of programs that are available to talk about sexual health education, to talk about drug and alcohol use, to talk about things like self-harm, cutting and getting into depression and wanting to kill yourself, a lot of these programs are failing because they fail to connect with the youth on a way that it's on their terms, a way that connects with them, and that's in a place of not coming across as condescending. It's coming across as, we understand you, we're coming to meet you on your grounds, we've got an engaging opportunity here with a character, a mascot that they find fun. They don't find us a threat. They're quite happy to approach us, talk about the car, talk about me dressed in a tutu and ladybug stockings, and slowly build up a rapport, and you can start to develop their relationship where you can touch some of the hard questions that they're not prepared to ask.
Well, we deal with a lot of gangs, and the thing was, we're seeing kids as young as 11 out in the streets trying to find their way. These younger kids are learning at a very young age, obviously probably from things at home as well, but from the gangs. And some of these kids, we had kids as young as 11-year-olds having 3 and 4 sexual partners a night. And that got a bit scary for me, because I looked and I thought, I've got grandchildren that are older than that. And here are these kids behaving this way, and they've got no idea that they could have an STI and that they could be affected for the rest of their lives if it's not seen to.
People have these blinkers on. They don't want to see the reality of what is going on in our society and what's happening in our local community with our youth. They're not prepared to face that 11-year-olds are having oral sex in the local parks at night time. They don't want to hear about it. They don't believe it happens. They don't want to think that their children could be doing that. They don't want to think that they may have failed their own children if this kind of thing's happening on. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to necessarily have to be the ones to deal with the mess.
So when we started throwing it around with the vehicle, and Lauren came up with the idea of it, and I thought, that could really work, because the kids aren't learning what they need to learn at school properly, obviously. So we thought we'd come up with a fun way for us to get it out on the streets and meet them where they're at, and we can talk to them as they get to know Lauren. The Street Beat has a real good rapport with them, but this is something new that's coming in. And so, again, it's going to take it very slow to be able to do what we want.
You need that key to get them engaged, get them interested and wanting to know more, and getting comfortable with you that, hey, these people are actually prepared to do something to help me out, and they're prepared to go these wacky ideas, to be a bit fun, not to come and say, hey, you've got to do it my way, or you're doing things wrong, this is the way you should be living your life. We're trying to get in there alongside them, not being their friend as such. We are friends with them, but at the same time we're trying to guide them, trying to empower them, I suppose.
And the younger ones, well, we want to be able to talk to them about it so that they're not in that young area where it's all funny about sex. There's a mixture of the older stuff and the younger one, and they're not really sure where they're going. So that's the avenue as they meet with Lauren, because basically we've heard everything. Nothing phases us. But in that, she's able to link with them, being that bit younger, for them to talk to her about certain things, so she can bring a much more healthier self-esteem in and around the sexuality of themselves as well.
I suppose the highlight of my time so far in the Day Foundation, particularly in the 4 Life program, one is when I've been out in the streets in the LuvBug and I see the way youth respond. I can see a positive change. I can see that there's a path for us to move forward, because it's so hard sometimes looking at some of the situations that kids are in. I think about my brother's situation. I think, how could we have helped? What services could have intervened? Needed more than just our family. And so when I see that there is a path forward, I see glimmers of hope, be able to change things. That for me is my driving factor. I can see, you know what, I can stop this happening to another youth. I can stop a person feeling so bad, feeling so out of place in the world that they simply think they don't belong here anymore.